It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
Well, happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy game day. Nielsen and Gazzola back with you on another episode of The Oil Stream, our first in about 10 days, about 10 days since I was gone on vacation. So yes, back at it. It's part of the Nielsen Media Cool Bed Network, brought to you by our great partners at Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. If you're looking for a meal prior to the game tonight, because it's starting so bloody late, get hooked up at Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. Do the whole Oil Stream extravaganza here. What you do is you go and grab a Popeye's chicken sandwich. You crush that. You go set up shop at BP's Lounge and watch the game at the lounge. And while you're doing it, you bet on the game over at Cool Bet. Tommy, that's hitting for the cycle right there.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it'll be good tonight. We'll get to the we'll dive into the betting odds on this game tonight. The Oilers are a heavy favorite against the Arizona Coyotes, playing on the second half of back-to-backs. Tommy, you were at the rink today. Anything of significance coming out of the morning skate?
Yeah, no Devin Shore on the ice for the Oilers, and then that made Jay Woodcroft kind of switch up the lines at practice, where you had Nugent Hopkins back at center, Fogle up with Draisaitl and Yamamoto. Top line stayed the same. So with Nugent Hopkins at center, you had Janmark and Kostin with him, and then the last two forwards, if you will, were Bjugstad and Ryan. So I don't know if it was smokescreen. I don't know what's up with Devin Shore. He wasn't on the ice yesterday either during the optional skate. So we'll see. And you know what? Sometimes Jay Woodcroft likes to mess around with the media and not give away too much. Personally, I think that's silly. But
I was going to say, it's also weird to do that with the Coyotes rolling into town, you know? Like maybe a game against the Golden Knights or Kings. So, I mean, they're in a spot to set up here where Shore can't play. 11-7 is fine. I mean, they can certainly roll with that, right?
Yeah, you get Desharnais back in there, and you got Broberg, who could build off of, not much to build off of in what he did the other night. It wasn't a great game for him. But, you know, talking to Vinny Desharnais, he was saying he knew he wasn't going to be playing that game the other day. So get him back into action and let him find his groove again. Not that he has been playing bad. He's been fine. But a real opportunity here to get the edges sharpened, iron out the errors and the bad habits that we saw kind of creep in on Monday night. All those cliches, a real opportunity against a Coyotes team that, quite frankly, has been playing better than San Jose.
Yeah, well, they've been playing much better than San Jose. It's like they don't want to tank for Bedard at all. They're 6-2-2 in their last 10 points in 8 of their last 10. So, I mean, I know it's the Coyotes. I know they're coming off a back-to-back, but just the fact that they've been pretty respectable as of late and, you know, probably wanting to fine-tune your game a little bit after last game. I don't view this like it's the Coyotes, so maybe we view it as the old trap game, but they've got points in 8 of their last 10, right? Like, the Oilers should not be viewing this game that way, should they? Even if you look at the blue line, and that blue line in Arizona is pretty weak. But I still wouldn't view it like that, considering what the Coyotes have been able to do lately.
Yeah, they're playing loose. Nothing to lose, to be honest with you. Yeah. And that can be dangerous, especially this time of year. There was a time where the Oilers were the spoilers in these types of situations, and now the roles
for too many years.
Yeah, exactly. This Coyotes, they had a 4-game winning streak snapped by Winnipeg last night. So be on your game. Do not let what happened on Monday happen again tonight, because I know that irked some fans, and they voiced their opinions on that. And let's see if they can clean things up and get the result in convincing fashion.
Boy, you'd lean towards them doing that, right? Like, I don't think this is a team that's going to put together back-to-back games where they squeak by the Sharks and Coyotes. They're a really good hockey team. They're better than that. That's not going to happen 2 games in a row, I wouldn't think.
I don't think so, but, I mean, this team, hold my beer type of situation where it's like, you want to watch us shit the bed? We're going to shit the bed hard and then scramble to put together a great game against the Vegas Golden Knights. Like, that happens and has happened at times this season. But if they can get everything, all the kinks ironed out and all of that, set themselves up nicely for a big Saturday night, then that would be a perfect situation.
Now, you mentioned what they were doing with the forward group at practice today, and it's not out of nowhere because we've seen him get a bump lately, but pretty impressive Warren Fogle lately. I thought that last game, buzzing around a little bit, they've given him a little bit of a bump up, and I think he's earned it. I think he's outplayed some of the guys who might be in those spots at times. So, what do you think about his? It's almost, what was it, about a month ago? Remember when Fogle came out after the game and said, everybody needs to start playing better. Our top guys need to start coming back. Like, it was weird because it was coming from Fogle, but I feel like at least he's stepped up since then. He's kind of followed through on it.
Yeah, I mean, he backed up what he said. Absolutely. He put his money where his mouth was, and good for him. He's a guy that's been in the league for a little while now, and I actually talked to him about that. I was like, hey, that was really refreshing what you said the other day. Yeah. He's like, well, it was true. He's like, someone had to say it. I'm like, did anybody say anything to you about saying it? He's like, no, we all know it. He's like, it just, we're tired of playing inconsistent, this and that at the time when they were, and he just said it. He didn't care. Good on him for doing that. And you're right. He's been getting results. He's been buzzing. He's been a better player. I think, having Jesse Puljujärvi gone has opened the door for him to know that someone else isn't going to be taking away ice time, because first of all, he earned this ice time that he's getting. Secondly, they kept trying to wedge Puljujärvi in there and give him time to play. That's not happening anymore, because clearly Fogle outplayed him, and now clearly Fogle's putting together a nice little run, and he's doing it a little bit banged up. He's got something on his arm that's bothering him right now, and he's no worse for wear in games. It does affect him in practice. He goes easy, but good on him. He's grinding through it and getting the job done.
All right, Tommy, let's dive into your Boston Pizza appetizer. Our next Boston Pizza location is going to be South Edmonton Common. So that should be fun. That'll be next week. We'll get all the details on that out here right away. But if you're looking for a place to saddle up and watch the game tonight, a little bit of a late one, which means you'll be there for happy hour because it's 2 to 5, and then again from 9 until close. That's basically going to be the entire game tonight. And you can hit that up at all of the Boston Pizza lounges across the city. This race in the Pacific right now is rather interesting. And Woodcroft talked about yesterday, there's nobody's giving anything up right now. Like the Kraken have fallen off just a little bit. They squeaked out a victory last night and are 3 points behind the Oilers right now. Golden Knights, they've got points in 9 of 11. They've won 8 of 10. They've won 9 of 11. The Kings are 8-0-2 in their last 10. They haven't lost in regulation in over 3 weeks. Yep. And then you've got the Edmonton Oilers, who've been playing extremely well, but haven't really been able to make up much ground on those top 2 teams because these teams have all been playing lights out right now. Does this race essentially come down to the head-to-head games? Like, that's all it's going to come down to, right? Yeah. I feel like everybody else is going to take care of business because the Kings have a very weak schedule, just like the Oilers, and I think the Golden Knights are kind of in the middle of the pack on strength of schedule the rest of the way. Yeah,
I mean, these games against Vegas and LA are going to have a huge say in how these teams end up. And if you're the Oilers, you've played against Vegas quite well this season. You've gotten the result both times. You get 2 more dates against them. Take care of business, man. Like there is a template there, and try to make it happen. I think, Vegas has brought out the best in the Oilers when they face them. And then LA is kind of like when I look at them, that team's like a pit bull, man. Like they are rambunctious. They're feisty. They don't give up much, and they attack and they attack and they
look like trouble.
They look like trouble. So that's going to be a great test as well. And they've given the Oilers fits. So, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's the first round, the second round, or whatever. These series are going to be tough when we get there. But if you're the Oilers, put together your best game, and it should lead to success. I guarantee you Vegas and LA are saying the same thing about the Oilers. And then strategy will play a huge factor in it, and then performance, obviously. So I'm intrigued. I don't know how it plays out. I really don't. And it might be like a toss-up in bingo balls for first, second, and third in the division, and mix in Seattle because they're not going anywhere either.
Yeah, we'll dive into the Golden Knights obviously a little bit more on Friday's episode as we get you ready for a Saturday game. But if the Oilers lose Saturday night's game in regulation, I do think they can kiss first in the division goodbye. I mean, that would be a pretty big thing to overcome. Be great if you could take both from the Golden Knights here over the next week, and then all of a sudden you're right in business, right? But if they lose on Saturday night, that's going to be pretty difficult to overcome the rest of the way, considering as of this moment, they're 6 points back of the Golden Knights right now. If you are... if you're watching on the live stream, you have any questions, you can fire them over as well. Nick Bjugstad against his former team tonight, Tommy. There's a future here in Edmonton with Nick Bjugstad, isn't there? If it's a reasonably priced future for the Oilers?
I would think that is a possibility. I don't know for sure. Haven't really gotten any intel into that, but it's been a very good fit. Both guys have been excellent since they've come over from Nashville and Arizona, respectively, in Ekholm and Bjugstad. Why not? I mean, if he could get a bump up in salary, a modest one, obviously, and maybe a couple of years of term, he's kind of what they need. They went out and got something and met a need. They got a right shot guy, veteran guy, not expensive, and experience in a lot of different elements of the game. Plays on the power play, plays on the PK, wins face. Like, there's so many things to like. Understands his role, probably quite happy with it. Seems to enjoy being an Edmontonian because he lives in Sherwood Park, evidently, and his family's settled. And he went to West Edmonton Mall for the first time in I don't know how many years. Like, there's so many elements here that are good that they might have found a guy that could be an Oiler for a couple of years at least. And, you know, with Ekholm, they have him wrapped up for a couple of years. I met Ekholm today. He looks like a Viking. Like, that is
he just does in person, eh? Like,
he's not a man. He's a Viking. Very nice guy, though. Very nice guy. We were both complaining about the 8:52 face-off tonight. Yeah, exactly. So that's the first thing he said to me. I was like, "Hey, Tom from TSN 1260." He's like, "Nice to meet you." He's like, "How about that face-off? 8:52, ridiculous." I'm like, "I know, dude."
Well,
like,
it is ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
So you do it for American television, doubleheader Wednesday night, Tommy.
Yeah.
But you make it so that people out east would have to stay up to almost 11 o'clock just to start watching Connor McDavid. Please tell me what you're accomplishing with this. Makes no sense.
No clue. Absolutely
sense.
No clue. And if you're trying to appease the Arizona market, this is a
waste of time.
It's a regional broadcast that, you know, we've seen some numbers over the years. They draw as little as 10,000 viewers a game when the team's really bad. So, I mean, on a bad day,
such a bad number.
Yeah.
That is a shitty number. That should be canceled. Like, that show would be canceled. That's what would happen there.
Yep.
Yeah. So it doesn't make any sense.
We get more viewers on this podcast in like an hour and a half of posting the full thing than they do. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, that's it's brutal. Like, 8:52 tonight. You're going to be on the air with post game. Brewhouse is going to be closed. The Ice House is going to be closed downtown, and you're still going to be like, got to wrap up the show. Like, it's insane. They're gonna be like, well, if you're gonna stay this late, you may as well help clean up, Tom. Yeah, it is ridiculous.
Hey, just back to, we got sidetracked there on the time, but just back to Bjugstad. Like, do you think, like, is it like 2 years, 1.2 mil or something like that? Like, I don't know how high you're, like, you can't drop a crazy $3 million deal on the guy, but
no,
that's more than he's making this year, and he has a chance to be a winner.
Yeah, and he's 30 years old, and I think guys like that the guys in the middle have been the ones that have been squeezed out the last few years, right? The high-end guys get the big money, and then GMs go for cheap and easy contracts, and there's a few middle ground guys that are in that, you know, $2 to $5 million range. I think he's a guy that probably just wants to stay in the NHL for the next few years, and he would take a modest contract. Obviously, he'd want an upgrade on his pay. Yeah, and with the cap potentially going up even more, there's going to be opportunity for him. 16 goals this year, maybe even gets to 20. Like, Dusty, that's a pretty good season for a guy that's played on a horrible team that's playing well now, and then found himself in a good spot. So, yeah, potentially, absolutely. I would think that the lines of communication for something like that, especially if the season ends well with Bjugstad and the Oilers, they would be open, right?
I think they'd be open to it too, for sure. Both sides. There's at least has to be an appetite from both sides to have something happen there. Do we know anything about Berglund, who signed today out of college? 4-year guy, captain, as he wrapped up, gets a 2-year entry-level deal that starts next season on an ATO the rest of the way with Bako. I mean, nothing to lose. See what happens, right?
Why not? They said, talking to people in the press box from the Oilers the other day, they said they had a few guys they're looking to sign, and obviously he's one of them. Can he play? Dusty, can he play? Can you get him in?
Why is he not in the lineup tonight if you're going to use a roster spot on him?
I've watched him 3 times. Can he play? He should be in the lineup. No, this is a guy that they obviously like, late bloomer, whatever you want to call it. They'll bring him in, give him a shot on an ATO with Bako. And then, you know what? And maybe next year or the year after, if things progress well, he could have a look with the big club. This is where your scouts and all the work that they put into watching these guys earn their keep, and maybe they have a good one. We'll see. But no, he's down the road, if anything, and we'll see how he does in Bakersfield.
All right, let's get to a couple of your questions here, and then we'll get into a little cool bet exclusive I've set up for the game tonight that you can hop on. Hey, guys, what do you do for playoffs? 11-7 or 12-6? I think this team is miles better when they're 11-7. Lets you have Vinny D in, but limiting minutes for him and Broberg, and gives the guys a breather on the penalty kill. I mean, it might depend on opponent, might depend on how it looks early in the series, Tommy, but how do you think they start this thing?
Depending on opponent, I think they would go 12-6. I think the inclination is to go 12-6. Woodcroft has talked about preferring 12-6, the traditional setup. I think Vinny Desharnais has, put himself ahead of Philip Broberg on the pecking order. He's an older guy. He's got old man strength, and I don't think he's as shaken or rattled as quickly as a younger defenseman would be, just finding his way in the National Hockey League for the first time. So I think Desharnais has a leg up on Broberg. Broberg, they want to keep bringing along, obviously. But I do think that they would likely start 12-6, just off of what Jay has done recently, what he said about preferring 12-6. But 11-7 has worked quite well. And depending on who they play, how they want to deploy strategy, we could see 11-7. And that's the beauty of having this flexibility. So I think it starts 12-6, but it could go to 11-7 depending on how they want to play whichever opponent they face.
I could see a real good game of cat and mouse with the 11-7, 12-6 against the Kings and Todd McClellan, right? Like that would be
absolutely.
I know the Kings are. I think the Kings are more difficult out than the Golden Knights, but I want to see it, man. I want to see Oilers and Kings again. I do, with both teams healthier than they were last year and better than they were last year. That would be a hell of a series. I hope we get that. I hope we get to talk about that in this market. Let's get to another question. Hey guys, do you think the Oilers are missing an opportunity to get Campbell some more playing time tonight? Tommy, where do you come out on that? Skinner's going to start, correct?
Correct. Skinner will start. And my answer to that is no. You gave him a chance the other night. He let 7 by him. 3 didn't count. That's great. Good job, Jeremy Kupol. I'm sorry, there's no time left. This is my opinion, obviously. No time left to try to get any more confidence back for Jack Campbell. He's going to get a few starts here. There's those 2 back-to-backs coming up in the next couple weeks. He's going to play one of those 2 in each of them, probably. That's where you hope for the best, and he makes some saves, doesn't allow 4+. And then, maybe a game really late in the season, depending on where the Oilers sit at that point. He's getting the crumbs, man. And this is not the time of year to try to get him up and running second time. You gave him a good chance to get his game back. He did, and then he lost it again. And Joaquin Gage, when I asked him about this, when he popped by the Ice House on the pregame show last game, I was like, what are you seeing? He's like, I see a guy that's rattled, lacking confidence. His body language tells it. And then Gager had a great conversation with Jack Campbell at the rink last week, and he's like, yeah, I could just tell he doesn't have confidence. So up and down with the confidence. And hopefully, if he has to go in come playoff time, the confidence reemerges.
You sprinkle him in a little bit here and there, but I don't think there's anything you can accomplish with Jack Campbell between now and the playoffs that if you have to go to him in the playoffs, you're not already screwed. It's the bottom line is Skinner's your guy. It's a ride or die with Skinner the rest of the way. Skinner has earned it. Jack Campbell has basically given that up. And I don't think there's anything you can accomplish. So, if Jack Campbell in the next 3 games has one good game, maybe it helps his confidence a little bit. And and you can go to him. But I still think if you go to him with the way that this season has gone, it's lights out for you anyway. So why would you worry about trying to get him up and running at this point when this story has already been scripted this season? So, no, you give him the back-to-backs. What, 2 more back-to-backs? So there's 2. Sprinkle in another one if you feel the need to. And as long as Skinner is good to go. And I saw some people texting today say, Dusty, well, what about burning Skinner out? You're not going to burn Skinner out. He barely played in January. He's in his mid-20s. And look, what they play tonight, they got 2 more days off before they play Vegas. And in a playoff, man, if you're going to be that guy, if you're going to be that number 1 goalie, you're going to have to play every second night anyway. So I do not buy into anybody or agree with anybody who's like, oh, a little bit worried about burning him out. That's not going to happen. It's not like this guy's already played 65 freaking games this year, Tommy. That's not the case. It's not even close. So he'll be fine physically. 40. Yeah, he'll be fine physically. There's no problems about that, I don't think. All right, let's dive into the game tonight for Cool Bet. Stay cool. Bet responsibly. I had Pat and Jake and the boys over at Cool Bet set this little ditty up for us tonight here. This will pay plus 385. If you want to grab it right now, you just hop online at coolbet.com. If you want to sign up for an account, when you do, use the code LOCKSHOP, and you get a 100% deposit bonus on an initial deposit up to $200. Plus 385 tonight. Oilers to score 5 goals or more, 1 from McDavid, 1 from Draisaitl. That's it. That's all you need tonight. Goal from Draisaitl, goal from McDavid, Oilers to score 5 or more, plus 385, Tommy. I don't want to say it's an automatic, but I like the value here. I like the odds on this one.
It sounds great. I have some doubts, though.
You do?
I don't know. Like, Arizona's playing good, but everything points to this actually coming to fruition and the payout being there. But I'm like, oh, what if AZ comes out with a big game, So I would have some reservation. I'm very conservative with the betting aspect, but if you want to make some money, go with
plus 385. Plus 385. I think you kind of got to hop on this one.
Right.
Even I always imagine, like, anytime a team has a big game against the Oilers, the Oilers still score a shitload of goals. Like, that's just usually how it works. When a team has a big game against the Oilers, it's either, a 6-5 win or a 6-5 loss. So I think goals are going to be scored in this game. And you did mention Arizona. In that winning streak, the 4-game winning streak, they scored 5, 4, 3, and 4. So the Coyotes have been scoring goals as of late, which means if the Oilers are going to win, they're going to have to score goals. Give me 5 goals for the Oilers tonight.
I love the enthusiasm. You're back, baby. You are back.
Is it Ingram in tonight for the Coyotes?
If Vejmelka played yesterday, if I recall correctly, he did.
Vejmelka played yesterday. I think it's Ingram today. So
so there we go. We'll probably get Connor Ingram, who has not had a good run against the Oilers.
Well, then that sounds pretty darn good, doesn't it, Tommy?
It does.
Plus 385. You can get that at Cool Bet. Stay cool. Bet responsibly. But yeah, we'll see what happens. See what happens tonight. Yeah, we'll see.
Sure.
All right, what time you get going on the pregame, Tommy?
7 o'clock.
So you got to have an hour and 52-minute pregame, essentially?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Well, at least there's lots to talk about with the Coyotes.
Thank you for that. Yes. We'll have to talk about our Inside the Numbers segment. We'll have to actually just run it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Just replay the oil stream tonight, buddy. You could do it. What is this? 23 minutes. That's a segment. There you go. Congratulations. Oil Stream makes its AM radio debut, which would be huge. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you on Friday. Get us out of here and have fun with the pre and post tonight, man.
Welcome back, Dusty Nielsen. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, smash that thumbs up button. Thanks for tuning in. See you on Friday. Enjoy the game.